If you take a look around at lists of greatest rock drummers in history, you're sure to see the name Ringo Starr. Now, Ringo has his detractors. There are people who feel that his simplified approach to drumming is too simplified and that basically he never really did anything of note as a drummer, while there are others who consider him to be not only one of the greatest drummers in history, but the greatest drummer in history. Now, there are several reasons put forward why Ringo Starr's drumming is so interesting, offbeat, and creative. He himself mentions that fact that he's left-handed by birth, but plays a right-handed drum kit, makes it very difficult for others to imitate his style, particularly when it comes to playing drum fills, because he leads with his left hand rather than his right. And he also plays backward drum fills quite frequently. Now, another aspect of Ringo Starr's playing that gets a lot of attention is his creativity. This means that he's on record saying when he comes up with a drum part, he wants it to be able to be recognized even if you took it out of the song. So if you take something like Come Together, for example, you would recognize the song Come Together just by hearing the drum pattern. The same goes for Get Back, or many other Beatles songs you could name. And this was one of Ringo Starr's intentions as a drummer, is to create drum parts that are hooky and memorable and stand apart from the song as well as serving the song. He had a secret weapon that I think is really important, and I want you to hear him talk about it right now, and then I'm going to reflect back on it and ask you for your input. Here's Ringo Starr talking about his secret weapon as a drummer.
I was always ready to play, and I had a little table here with a little drink. If you look at any footage of the Beatles especially, what you'd find is I set up like this. I invented the back for the drum stool because I would be on that stool ready. If anybody started, I'm ready. You don't know, oh, he's in the, he's down there, he's having a coffee or whatever. And, that's just how it was. And you see them all chatting because they have the overheads. And I'm just, oh, okay. And this was where I lived, and Paul would just 2, 3, 4. I was always ready.
Okay, so why do I think this is important? I think it's important because it's part of the old saying that showing up is 90% of the battle. And for a musician or any creative person, this is particularly true. If you spend your time sitting around planning and dreaming, but you don't show up to rehearsal, nothing's ever going to get done. But I think there's an even more interesting part of his observations here and his philosophy of always being ready, and that is that it influenced the way that the Beatles composed their music. So if Paul McCartney and John Lennon were in the studio with a drum machine and it was always ready, it would have a different impact on the music they ultimately created than having a live drummer who is sitting there always at the ready. In turn, playing the same songs over and over and over in the studio allowed Ringo Starr to refine his drum patterns over a period of time. Each time he refined his drum patterns, that would reflect back on the song, which would then influence the songwriters, and then that would go back to Ringo and influence his drumming, and you see this great collaborative, mutually beneficial circle of influence. And I think that this is something that could not be accomplished with a drum machine, and it couldn't be accomplished with a drummer who wanted to sit in the studio, do his takes, and then head out to the bar. So even though this seems like a very simple thing, it is a brilliant aspect of how Ringo Starr approached his role in the Beatles. And my question to you is, do you agree with me? Do you think that the simple fact of always being ready is important when it comes to doing creative things? I actually think it's important for doing anything in life. No matter what you're doing, you should always be ready. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like